Hi there, welcome to Two Birds. I'm Fiona and welcome back if you've practiced with me before. Today's class is a 30-minute practice for your back. It's part of the body focus flows, and this week we are focusing on the spine. And having a tight, painful back is sadly all too familiar with many of us. And for ordinary back pain and tension, this class might offer some therapeutic relief. The class is slow, it's accessible, and quite subtle. It incorporates deep breathing and some intentional, gentle movement. The whole practice is practiced low to the floor with really small movements, so hopefully that offers you some relief if you're suffering from an achy back at the moment. All you'll need for practice is a blanket or a cushion for comfort, and I really hope it offers you some relief. Thank you so much for joining. Namaste. And begin your practice laying down on your back. Have your blanket off to the right side of your mat. And taking your feet wide, knees bent, so your knees can angle in and knock, and the low back can soften. Once you're situated, gently close down your eyes, align your spine into a straight line. And then just honouring the natural curves of your spine, so your low back and the back of your neck are not flat there. Now just allow the front of your thigh bones to melt and sink deep into the hip sockets, inviting the hip flexors to relax. Taking your right hand to your belly, left hand to the centre of your chest, and just check in with the feeling tone through your spine. Taking a note of how it feels as you start your practice, how your breath's moving through the back of your body. And we'll take the next few minutes to establish a breath pattern to support your core and bring awareness to your breath. Very simply now, as you breathe in, feel your belly, your ribs, and chest expand under your hands. And as you breathe out, draw the lowest part of your belly in and up. Press all the air out of your lungs until you're fully empty. I'm going to take a few more deliberate rounds just like that. Feeling an engagement through the pit of the belly at the end of each exhale. And breathing three-dimensionally into the belly, the ribs and chest on your inhale. And final stage now, we'll breathe a ribcage diaphragmatic breath. So hold this light engagement initiated by your exhale in your belly as you breathe in. So your inhales now expand laterally into your ribs and up toward your chest, and your belly stays contained. And then as you breathe out, you're contracting, securing your abdominal core, and you're also pressurizing your diaphragm to aerate your lungs. And this pattern of breathing now creates more stability and support. And just note that your ability to breathe well really comes from the completeness of your exhale. When you're fully empty, not only will your deep abdominal core switch on for support, but your corresponding inhales become automatically deeper. And your diaphragm has such a big impact on the mobility of your spine. Stretching it out with your breath can really help to decompress and alleviate tension through the spine, the front of the chest, and also help you just to step into any movement practice with a little bit more ease. So we're going to take this breathing pattern with us now into some gentle movement through the pelvis, walking your feet into hips distance apart, and we're going to rock the pelvis from neutral to a mild arch. On your next breath in, press your sacrum into the floor and keep pressing gently. Slowly start to roll the pressure down toward your tailbone. So you arch your spine there. And then now very slowly exhale and reverse back to neutral, letting your pelvis roll back. So we're going to add a breath count to that. We're going to inhale for 4, gently arching your spine. And then exhale really slow, count of 8 to return to neutral. And then just twice more now on your own. Try to resist that temptation to rush. And we're going to reverse the movement now. We'll go from neutral spine to flattening the spine along the mat. So practicing 4 rounds. Inhale deeply, ribs, chest, and then slowly exhale, press your low back into the floor. And then inhale, come back to neutral. So there's a little trough in the low back. Take 3 more rounds. Take a long exhale to flatten the spine. And then half an inhale. So just inhale, count of 4 as you return to neutral. Go twice more on your own there. And then final rounds here, we'll put both movements together and include the whole length of your spine. So as you arch and flatten your spine, see if you can allow your head to start nodding with the movement. Start by completely relaxing the entire spine right up through your upper back, your neck and your head. Find neutral. And then next breath in, pressing your sacrum down, rolling down toward your tailbone, arching. And just let that movement ripple up your spine so your chin nods in toward your chest. Then take a long exhale, return to neutral. Once you're in neutral, breathe in, into the ribs, into the chest. And then exhale this time, flattening out through your low back. And then letting your chin naturally tip up with the movement. And then return to neutral. Take one more round on your own in both directions there. So a long exhale. And a regular inhale. And then when you're ready, just return to your neutral spine. Take a moment to feel into your low back. Check in with any changes or new sensations you might be feeling. And then from here, gather your knees in toward your chest, any amount. Knees can be wide or narrow. Press and massage your low back into the mat. And then take your hands to the top of your knees now. And on an inhale, press your knees away, straightening your arms. And then very simply exhale, draw the knees back in toward your chest. So move slow and gently, continue on, include your breath. And this simple movement stimulates the upward release of your diaphragm, your big breathing muscle as you exhale. So it helps to reduce tension in the diaphragm, which is sometimes very responsible for back pain. And this vinyasa is one of the most effective ways in alleviating tension, just by creating more diaphragmatic space for the abdominal muscles to support your posture. Now just balance your knees out over your hips and circle the knees away from one another. So just a nice, loose, comfortable movement. And then take it back in the opposite direction. Make your way back to center. Place your left foot on the floor now. Interlace your hands behind the back of your right thigh. And then raise the right foot. We're going to move into and out of straightening your right leg up toward the ceiling, but it's not our traditional hamstring stretch. You want to keep your right foot quite relaxed, a bit soggy, and the movement in a range of motion of light sensation. So very gentle, because if you tighten the low back and that tightness is originating in your hamstrings, stronger stretch here might pull on the nerves that travel down into the low back. So we're going to go really gentle, reach up with your heel, rebend and release. Just keep going there. Include your breath, nice rib cage, diaphragmatic breath into the ribs, into the chest. Lightly reaching and releasing. Last one here. And we'll switch sides. Right foot to your mat, left knee in, catch a hold behind the left thigh. Left foot nice and soggy. And as you reach up and release, maintain an intentional breath and a very understated gentle motion between the two. And this is what's called a nerve glide movement. It can really help to mobilize compressed nerves, a helpful one if you've ever suffered from sciatica. And just take a few more here. And then release, feet to the floor. And what studies have found is that when your nerves are inflamed or irritated, they respond better to careful, gentle movement rather than really deep stretches. So just take a moment with your feet on the floor, check in. If you'd like to rock your knees a little left and right, you can here. And from here, we're going to set up for a dynamic bridge flow. We're going to pair it with our breath and then hold in a bridge and take some really long, deep diaphragmatic breaths. And this is a great sequence to mobilize your spine, your shoulders, stretch your neck, as well as lengthening into the sides of your torso. And again, not going for your deepest bridge, you're concentrating on the integrity of your form and most of all comfort and a steady breath. So placing your feet hips width apart, possibly a little wider, taking your heels about half a foot away from your buttocks, and then resting your arms alongside your body. And again, just find your neutral spine, little hollow in the low back, back of the neck. And then one arm at a time on your inhale here, take just your right arm overhead, gently raising your hips and turn your gaze to the left. On your exhale, lower your buttocks, take your arm back down by your sides and the gaze up toward the ceiling. Now before you set off on the left, make any adjustments with your feet if you felt any pinching in your low back. And then left side now, as you inhale, left arm overhead, raise your hips. Take the gaze slowly to your right chin toward your shoulder. Exhale, lower yourself down. And then both arms now, you feel free to bend the elbows as you reach them overhead. Inhale, hips lift, arms overhead. And then exhale, lower down. So we'll move once more through the sequence. Now try and be a little bit more intentional with your breath. Raise your right arm overhead, lift the hips, look left. Exhale, lower down. Inhale, left arm overhead, raise your hips, chin toward your right shoulder, looking over to the right. And lower down. Both arms now overhead. Raise your hips with your in-breath. And exhale long, lower down. Last round here. Inhale, both arms overhead, raise your hips and we'll hold. And we'll focus on extending the length of our exhales. So make yourself comfortable in a sustainable shape. You can cactus your arms if you like, adjust your feet. Inhale here, count of 4. Exhale, count of 8. Keep the hips lifted. Take 5 more steady breaths like that. Inhale for 4, out for 8. And when you've finished your 5th round, just bring everything down to the floor. And then we're going to reset here by extending both legs out straight along the mat. Just take your time, let the feet and legs relax once they're extended. You might like to wave your feet left and right. Rock on the hips and the buttocks. Give yourself a breath or two to land and soften into the support beneath you. Last 2 postures here for your spine, a reclined side bend and a twist. So from here, come into a loose Supta Baddha Konasana. So bound angle pose, bend the knees. Take the soles of your feet together, let the knees fall open. But try and create a nice wide diamond shape with your legs. And see that your low back doesn't exaggerate it too far away from the mat, just your natural curve there. Now take your arms overhead and you might like to catch opposite elbows, forearms, or perhaps even right hand to your left wrist. And then take the shape of a banana through your body now. So you're going to shuffle your torso first a little over to your right. Once you've settled, take your bound legs over to the right, same direction. So you accentuate a C curve through the left side of your waist. We'll take 3 full breaths in and out. Just concentrate on that pattern of breathing. And you might like to stay here, or you might like to explore a little bit more sensation, extending both legs out straight on the same angle. And last option is to cross the left ankle over your right ankle. Take 3 more breaths. And then we're going to release back to center. Extend both legs straight along the mat. Shuffle your way back. Take a moment again just to check in how you're feeling left to right side. And then we'll switch sides. Bend your knees, soles of the feet together. Knees fall out wide. Then arms overhead in your preferred bind. And then just start to shift the torso over to the left. Then let the legs follow. Relax and settle. Take 3 full breaths. And these simple side bends help to increase your spinal mobility, and they create better body symmetry. And you can stay here or experiment with extending the legs out and perhaps crossing the right ankle over your left. Take 3 more breaths. And then make your way back to center. Come nice and slow. Back to center. Release your arms down by your sides. And again, extend your legs along the mat. Breathe in deeply. Exhale completely. And take one more full cycle of breath. For our twist, you may wish to have the support of a blanket here. So bending both knees, point them up toward the ceiling, and then shuffle your feet together. So you can recruit the blanket for support either between your knees, or you can rest your knees onto it over to the side. So we'll start on the right side. So on your inhale, push down through your feet, lift the hips, and then exhale, carefully take your knees to the right. And you want to shift your hips back to the left a little so you keep your spine in a nice straight line. And then once you've found your comfortable twist, you might like to take your right hand on top of your left thigh or the knee, and you can take the left arm out to your left in line with your shoulder and your gaze, or you can graze the back of your left hand on the floor and glide it up overhead. Just find what feels best for you. And go ahead, take 5 deep breaths into the ribs, into the chest, and let your breath dissolve at the pit of your belly. Just letting the weight of your legs relax and release. And then on your exhale, deliberately firm your belly, come back to center and reset for the final side. So pad your knees or set the support up on your left. And then just moving slowly into your twist and into this side with care. So again, doesn't have to be your deepest twist. Legs can hover and be just a little off center if that shape's more sustainable for you right now. Less is more, particularly if you're better able to relax into it. And these twists are useful to move into toward the end of your practice, because the previous poses have softened the larger back muscles. As you twist here, just exhale softly to release the grip of the diaphragm muscle, intercostal muscles on the rib cage. And in a nice unhurried manner, come back to center. And just take your feet to the floor. And we'll come into final rest pose, which is possibly the most important step now to integrate your practice movement into the body, into the nervous system. So for a really comfy Shavasana, you might like to roll your blanket up and place it underneath your knees as you extend the legs long towards straight. Or you might have a more comfortable position where you can really fully relax. Ideally, spine in one straight line there, and encouraging balance and symmetry left and right side of your body. And we'll take the last 4 minutes here to relax all effort. Letting the shape of your body land your breath into a slower cadence, a softer body. And simply savor your breath just as it is now. Letting go of your effort. Encouraging your body to relax and open into the space around you, from your head all the way down to your toes. Invite the weight of your hips to recede back. And just soften and spread through your upper back, middle of the back. And feeling the low back spread and relax. Linger here now, letting your breath pool softly in your belly. And I'll be back to guide you back. And gently, gently drifting your attention back. Breathing a deeper breath. Just wriggle and stretch gently out through your whole body. Bending your knees, feet to the floor, roll out to your right. And then just carefully drag your way back up to sit. And I really hope you're feeling a little bit more free and mobile through your spine and you found this helpful. Thank you for joining me. Namaste.